Welcome to the Frontier Communications American Women's Basketball Championship. We are at the Mohegan Sun Arena in Uncasville, Connecticut, and this afternoon in the quarterfinals, it will be the 9th seed Tulsa versus the number 1 seed and 11-time national champion UConn Huskies. This is the second of 4 quarterfinals here today, all of them on ESPN2. In our opener, 4th seed UCF beat 5 seed Tulane. So the Knights will meet the Tulsa UConn winner in semifinal number 1 tomorrow night. Still to come tonight, 2 more quarterfinals, SMU and 3 seed USF and Houston and 2 seed Temple. Now this is the Americans' 4th season, and UConn has absolutely dominated. In fact, Gino Auriemma's Huskies have been the picture of perfection. 70-0 in conference games in the regular season and another 9-0 in the conference tournament. Hi everyone, I'm Bob Picozzi, along with New York Liberty Associate Head Coach Katie Smith. And Katie, in this one, Gino Auriemma gets a key component back in the lineup.
Great. I'm sure everybody in here is excited to see Kia Nurse will be back on the floor today. She's going to get the start, probably already loose from that foot injury. They're going to probably get her some time. Who knows how many minutes, probably not a lot. See what kind of timing she has and see how she feels after having a game-like experience.
She missed 4 games with a foot injury, and chatting with Gino Auriemma yesterday, he said that the plan was to get her out onto the floor. But he also said we have to be smart in managing her minutes. Obviously, UConn expects to win today and play tomorrow, and win tomorrow and play Monday. So for 3 games in 3 days, they can't expect her to be playing 30 or 35 minutes.
You want to slowly ramp her up, and you also want to see how she responds the next day. How does she feel? So that'll all show itself, but I know they're going to be very cautious with her.
Bruce Morris tossed the ball up. He's working with Jeff Smith and Maggie Tiemann. UConn won both regular season meetings with Tulsa.
You know, for UConn, they just want to be crisp and execute. You see a quick slip by Gabby Williams and great pass. And for Tulsa, got to take care of the basketball. You don't want to let UConn get up and down the floor by turning the basketball over. Got to hit some shots and then stay out of foul trouble.
Tulsa is 10-20. They finished 5-11 in the American. Erica Wakefield runs down the Tulsa miss in the corner, and then the pass by Elliott is deflected by Sanaya Chan.
You have a couple freshmen on the floor. Kendrian Elliott, post player, and then Shook Dixon, who are very talented.
Both named to the conference's all-freshman team. 10 seconds to shoot. Wakefield with the deep 3 over Williams, and the rebound pulled down by Katie Lou Samuelson, who yesterday, along with her teammate Nafisa Collier, were named the co-players of the year in the American.
You know, Gino, lots of awards for the UConn Huskies. You see nice quick kick out to Kia Nurse. You know, her timing's probably going to be off, but you know, Gino really talked about if you focus on the right thing, which is winning and winning championships, then you get rewarded, and it just comes to you. You don't have to search it out. But those awards came to them by really focusing on the big goal.
Ashley Hughes, who had a big game yesterday. The shot blocked by Collier. She leads the American in that category. 10 to shoot for Tulsa. Coached by Matilda Mossman. Previously coached at Kansas State and Arkansas. Shot clock down to 5. Dixon shot was deflected. And here comes UConn, who has won 104 games in a row. The all-time record, shattering their own previous record. And Gabby Williams has 2 field goal attempts, and they're both layups.
Yeah, really quick move. Got Paganis leaning on her a little bit, and then she got her off her, got quick to the rim. But I would love to see Tulsa actually throw the ball inside to Elliott when she gets on the block. Because Connecticut's long, and Tulsa's guards are pretty short in stature.
Elliott got the offensive rebound off the Wakefield miss. She had 11 rebounds in the first round win last night, and Wakefield knocks down the 3.
Great concentration. Gabby Williams flying at her.
UConn 12-0 in the Mohegan Sun Arena in its history, and Nurse with her first basket of the game.
You see them getting wide open layups after they get past that initial defender is because there's shooters on the floor. You got Katie Lou Samuelson on the side of the floor, and that guard does not want to sit any further in. to try to help on that drive.
Well, you wanted to go down low to Elliott. It didn't work that time as Collier gets her second block shot of the game.
I would still go at him and see
Sure.
what she can do and see what, if you know, give her that experience. On top of it, maybe you can get a couple fouls on Connecticut's bigs.
Well, that's not the first shot that Collier has blocked this season. She'll block some more. Sean gets a good quick step and gets right by Wakefield.
Changing some defenses up. They're playing man-to-man right now. They're all about the same size with the post players that they have with Williams and Collier. They can switch almost anything because of the perimeter size as well.
Offensive rebound pulled down by Dixon.
Who had a couple good games against Connecticut. I mean, personally, she had 12 points. She also had a 21-point game. So
took 17 shots in the second meeting between the two. Buried 8 of them. Nurse with the pull-up. UConn is already 4 for 6 from the floor. Samuelson with the miss. UConn has won the first 3 of the American Women's Championships, beating Louisville in the finals in the first year. Louisville's first and only year in the league before jumping to the ACC, and then beating USF in each of the last 2 years. Shot clock down to 7. Hughes gives it to Wakefield. Shot fake, and she got up and under Collier.
Yeah, nice job, just patience, not just panicking and throwing it up there to get it blocked, but then just pause and taking that long stride, get up under the defense.
And away from the play, we will have a whistle.
As you see, Connecticut just has such weapons, and you see her, she fakes like she's going to use the pick. The defense takes a step towards that high arm ball, and it opens up that whole lane to get to the rim.
It's an issue with the clock, and Bruce Morris and Maggie Tiemann will go over to look at the monitor to try to get things straightened out. And chatting with Gino Auriemma yesterday, we asked him, does this ever get old, the conference tournament? Because when you're UConn, your goal is the same every year, and that's to win the national championship. And he said, no, it doesn't get old. And he said, remember, you know, the player, I've been here for all these tournaments, but the players are only here for 4 years at a time. And why this isn't a brand new team for UConn this year, the starting lineup is, with the exception of Nurse, is almost completely brand new because they lost 3 players in Brianna Stewart and Morgan Tuck and Mariah Jefferson were the first 3 players picked in the WNBA draft. But his point is these guys playing as a unit have never won one of these championships, so it doesn't get old to them.
No, it doesn't. I mean, this is a new group. Yes, as you said, he's been there, but it's also they want to keep becoming good. And as you see, Morgan Tuck with a little headset on, and she is a Connecticut Sun WNBA player right here in this arena.
Still in the game on the radio with Bob Joyce on the UConn Radio Network.
But it doesn't. I mean, they want to be perfectionists almost. Like, and every night gives them that opportunity to go out there and hone their craft and compete.
Well, he said we never look ahead to the NCAA tournament. To be a great player, you have to strive to be a great player every single day. You can't just be a great player on Saturdays. You also have games on Tuesdays and Thursdays. This is a replay, and both the shot clock and the game clock stop. So they do as they go over, and it's very easy to determine when it happened. You just pull out a stopwatch, time the play, time how much time had played since the clock stopped, and you do the math. Collier misses the shot, and the rebound is pulled down by Hughes. 5 minutes gone, first quarter. UConn by 3. Winner gets UCF in the semifinals tomorrow. Dixon, nice look inside to Elliott.
Nice pass, kind of froze the defense a little bit.
Nurse low block to Collier, takes it right to the rim, and will draw the foul on Elliott. That'll bring us to our first timeout of the day.
And you see freshman right here, shook this little crossover, freezes the defense, passes it to her classmate for the bucket.
Here's a look at Nafisa Collier, named the Co-Player of the Year in the American Athletic Conference. UConn leads by 1. Bob Picozzi, along with Katie Smith, 7-time WNBA All-Star. We mentioned UConn lost their 3 best players to the WNBA. It created an opportunity for this young lady who's at the free throw line, and she has blossomed into a legitimate National Player of the Year candidate in her first year as a starter.
She has. It was just named Co-Player of the Year here in the American Conference, but not only does she score 20 points, gets 9 rebounds, I mean, she's second in the nation in field goal percentage, like 68.6. I mean, she's an efficient player that does a little bit of everything. And she's out here every night banging also with taller, stronger post players, and they're getting the job done. That means she's got to have the smarts along with the athleticism.
A year ago, on an undefeated team, she averaged only 17 minutes per game. This year, averaging 30 minutes per game and averaging 20 points, 9 rebounds, leading the conference in field goal shooting percentage and block shots. Just a classic situation where when you get the opportunity to play, and you take advantage of it.
She's not even the record holder for best field goal percentage. Tamika Williams, part of the Asia Jones, Sue Bird, Swin Cash group, has 2 others that are ahead of her.
Well, little known secret, Tamika, there was a rule with her. She was not allowed to take a shot outside of that 6-foot radius, and she never violated that rule.
No, she's a team player. I know Meek was a teammate of mine and a very good friend, but yeah, she was looking at the records, and I was like, okay, Tamika has these 3.
Abby Williams with another basket. Tamika Williams played on national championship number 3 back in 2002 when she was a senior, and UConn went 39-0.
Also trying to slow down the game a little bit, not in any hurry to go get a quick shot. Want to run offense, try to pick them apart a little bit, maybe find a good open look from the 3.
Samuelson deflects the pass with 1 second left on the shot clock, and it's a turnover, last touched by Tulsa. Samuelson, the other Co-Player of the Year in the conference. She leads the league in scoring. Collier is second. Of course, unlike Collier, Samuelson came out of high school as ballyhooed as the #1 player in the country in her class. Collier down low to Williams, who now has 4 layups in the first 6.5 minutes.
And Shug Dixon can't allow Williams to just step in front and seal her, just show numbers to her teammate. She has to at least check her or get to the side of her, so that isn't such an easy pass. Hughes for the 3.
Banked it in and almost looked apologetically to the crowd, saying, "I'm sorry."
She might, she definitely didn't call it. She's not going. But they'll take it.
Nobody tries to bank it in from that far away anymore. Great look inside. Williams to Samuelson and 1.
Again, first look when the ball goes to the high post, you already have an idea that what's going on down low. She knew that there was a high-low. Samuelson is posting up a smaller guard. And again, throw it up and the quick turn for the finish.
Foul on Wakefield, her first and 2 on the team.
See a little half-court, little 1-2-2.
With Crystal Dangerfield the 1, and it results in a turnover. Dangerfield replacing Nurse. Samuelson reversal to Collier. She seldom shoots from out there. It doesn't matter, does it?
She got those feet, thought about driving, then pulled that foot back, got the feet set.
She's even a 40% shooter from 3. Matilda Mossman will get a timeout with 2:24 to go, and UConn already opening up a 10-point lead.
For Tulsa, they lost both games, 1 by 40, 1 by 46. Going into this game, I mean, yes, you can say, hey, we're going to beat Connecticut, we're going to do this, but part of it is let's talk about ourselves and what we can do. So let's move that margin down, get it a little tighter.
And Matilda Mossman told us this week, said, look, let's be honest. We have 11 teams in our league. It's UConn and everybody else. Everyone knows where UConn is going to be in the bracket. And the goal is to get on the other side of the bracket. You know that if you're going to win the conference tournament, you'll have to see them eventually, but you'd rather see them later than sooner. So Tulsa had the misfortune of finishing on the UConn side of the bracket. So even with the opening round win over Memphis, their prize is they get to play them for a third time.
I'd like to give that prize back.
Hughes with the miss. Collier rebound quickly out to Dangerfield, who's UConn's quickest player. And she spins and uses the glass.
They definitely just keep it coming.
Dangerfield could be the point guard of the future for this UConn team. Collier rejected the shot, but they said she got it with the body. That's the first foul on UConn.
Kind of sized up Katie Lou Samuelson, got off the dribble, got around her. Collier came over with the help. But I like the attack. I mean, Dixon has the athleticism and the quicks to get by somebody and needs to continue to do that.
Jun Auriemma insists that his team is still vulnerable. We were chatting with him yesterday, and we mentioned that the Warriors had lost the night before, and that meant 2 straight losses for the Warriors for the first time in what seems like an eternity. That is compared to UConn, who hasn't lost 2 in a row literally since 1993. And he said, you know, that's the crazy part of it. You know, you have a night with you're not shooting well, or you get a bad luck, or a turnover at the wrong time. You get a bad call from the official, and it just calls that 104-game winning streak, and it just makes you wonder and think about just how improbable and unlikely such a thing is.
It's going to be tough. I mean, they're not real deep, so any type of foul trouble, you know, they got to be as smart. As you see a little step through there, Collier couldn't get to go down, but you have to be smart on defense because you're going to go up against teams that have a lot of size. On top of that, you got to shoot the ball well. So, I mean, it's all these things have to come together, and sometimes you can control them and sometimes you don't.
Samuelson to inbound with a fresh 30. Finds Collier, but Collier couldn't handle the pass. Tatiana Perez, number 2, is checked into the lineup for Tulsa. Shot clock inside 10. Perez for 3. And a weak side rebound. Panganas tries to save and cannot. It's taken by Chan. Quickly the other way, Dangerfield. Chan for 3.
Great ball movement, get the ball in the wing, throw it inside. Defense kind of collapses, takes a peek, turns their head, and throws it right back out to the shooter.
She's a 39% three-point shooter, 5th best in the American. Entry pass to Elliott, knocked away. Last touch by UConn with 13 to shoot. 13 seconds left in the quarter.
So 13 seconds, got 1 shot here, get the last shot of the quarter.
Dangerfield commits the foul. Of course, it's a smart move. You have the fouls to give.
Doesn't hurt you.
Might do it again. Still have 2 more to give before Tulsa would shoot. Disrupts the rhythm of the offense. This time they're going to play it out. Perez taking way too much time and barely gets the shot off before the horn sound. So UConn rings up 25 points in the first quarter.
The games are near. The goal is clear. You want to win it all? The NCAA Women's Tournament.
Selection show on Monday, March the 13th, where we will unveil exclusively the entire bracket. UConn obviously will be one of those #1 seeds and the overall #1 seed, according to our bracketologist Charlie Cream. No matter what happens this weekend, it won't change that. Charlie, entering the weekend, had Notre Dame, Baylor, and South Carolina as the other 1 seeds. Notre Dame got a win today over Louisville in the ACC semifinals.
South Carolina plays Kentucky later, which Kentucky has been on a roll here, knocking down Mississippi State. kept them from winning a SEC championship regular season.
Foul on Gabby Williams. That's her first. First on UConn here in the second quarter. Crowd doesn't like it. Crowd never likes it when there's a foul called on their beloved Huskies. And on the inbound, it's last touched by Tulsa.
Very protective. But those are like the type of calls that down the road in tournaments against some better teams that get in some foul trouble. What a quick slip and turn of the head to see the ball and grab it. Excellent job. You see a lot of times post players, she's running into that pick and she gets out of there quick. That's a slip. But again, locating the basketball, passing the right spot, and then obviously concentration on the finish.
Williams 5 for 5 from the floor today.
And she does a little bit of everything. Whether it's scoring, rebound, blocks, assists, steals. I mean, she is up there in all of them.
Tulsa barely avoided a 10-second violation getting it across. And they forced the turnover anyway as Samuelson had Dixon trapped in the corner and she stepped on the baseline. Just to show you how deep and talented this UConn team is, the Huskies have 3 of the top 10, the 10 finalists for the Wooden Award. Collier, Samuelson, and Williams.
They keep it coming. Nice execution and nice job by Collier to keep running, giving that outlet, just put the pressure on.
Pretty feed from Dangerfield. This time Tulsa beats the press and they look to attack, but the shot by Spruill does not drop. Wakefield with a shot fake, took it to the rim. Samuelson with the rebound.
One thing I love about Connecticut is they contest every single shot. I mean, they're flying at somebody. Nice pass, another layup for Connecticut. But again, on the defensive end, I'm just impressed that they just fly around and there's always somebody contesting shots.
3rd assist for Williams already. UConn 9 assists and 1 turnover.
Wakefield having a great job right there, just not picking up her dribble, keeping her dribble alive to get out of all that trouble.
Kia Nurse will re-enter at the next whistle for UConn. And Ebony Barker comes off the bench and fires up a 3. Samuelson goes baseline. And they'll call a traveling violation. Here's your bracket. We have one team in the semifinal of the Frontier Communications American Championship. That's UCF. They emerged the victor over Tulane in a toughly fought contest in the first quarterfinal today. So UCF will play the winner of this game, UConn and Tulsa, in the first semifinal tomorrow night, 5 Eastern time on ESPN2. 2 more quarterfinals tonight, including our first look at the tournament at the 2-seed Temple and the 3-seed USF.
Been some hard-fought battles and a lot of energy and effort given.
Spruill commits the foul on Williams on the rebound. That will be her first, and 2 on Tulsa here in the second quarter. A win today would give UConn 30 wins for the 12th consecutive season. Entry pass into the post. Samuelson. Dixon tried to foul her, but she didn't get a whistle.
The size of Connecticut, and it's not necessarily you give tall post players, but the size of their guards is really a problem. It creates a lot of problems on the offensive end, as you see him turnover for a quick bucket.
And another Tulsa timeout.
Right now, Connecticut putting the pressure on Collier, getting their hands on, and they're running the floor.
Final 4 in Dallas. UConn just carving up Tulsa at the offensive end of the floor, Katie.
And they're getting everything inside, whether it's a guard post up, whether it's a turnover for a layup. anything, they are attacking the rim. It's not necessarily off the back to the basket post up.
And the points in the paint pretty much tells the story. So is that the game plan today, guys? Let's see if we can go out and shoot nothing but layups today.
It may be, but
UConn this quarter 5 for 5 from the floor, each basket with an assist. Rebound pulled down by Collier. Samuelson takes it right to the rim with the left hand, thought she was fouled. And she continues to ask Bruce Morris, you don't think I got hit on that play?
yeah,
You watch me play, you ever see me miss that badly on a layup?
She came around afterwards and was like, she grabbed my arm. But I don't know how many times that as a player, and this is from personal experience also, that anytime asking something or saying it was different, that it ever got changed. So it never really helps.
Really? You mean they didn't blow the whistle and say, you know, you're right.
Oh,
Upon
yeah,
further
you're right.
review,
Exactly.
you're absolutely right. Go to the line. Here's Samuelson for three. They didn't foul on that one.
Such a quick, I mean, every time that the ball hits her hands, it's in her shooting pocket, ready to fly.
Second most accurate three-point shooter in the American. And leads the league in three-point makes. That was her 94th. Tough shot inside by Elliott.
And I definitely, I'm in a mindset of obviously move the ball around, but I'd let her have a touch almost on every possession.
Inside Collier got bumped by Elliott. It didn't matter.
And the concentration on the finishes. You know, she's getting bodied, but it's all about makes, right? We're not just taking shots. We're shooting the ball to make it.
UConn is 17 for 23 from the floor. Rebound Dangerfield, and look at them run the floor. Collier, Samuelson. Williams rolls to the basket. She finally missed the shot. Her first miss. Samuelson for three.
Best time for a three ball is off an offensive rebound. Defense is scrambling and don't know where the shooters are at, but great recognition and quick kick out.
UConn by 27. And Elliott with another tough shot.
And that's an area that Connecticut they've managed, as you see, Collier putting it on the floor with getting the foul line.
Kia Nurse missed the last 4 games with a foot injury, and this is how it happened late in the season. At the defensive end, you'd see her taking a misstep there, spot shadow it. So UConn took the wise course of action. They decided to sit her out. I'm not so sure she would have sat out if it were the NCAA tournament, but they wanted to get her ready. Actually, the most grueling physical time of any season is the conference tournament. It's the only time all year you'll play 3 days in a row.
Right.
The way the NCAA tournament is spread out, you always have that day off between the first and second round and the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight and the national semifinals and the finals. So you can manage your minutes a little bit better then.
Yeah, this is the grind right here, and you're putting a lot of minutes on these players day after day, and it's tough, but it's as mentally exhausting as it is physically, and it's just a lot to take in.
Natalie Butler has checked in, giving Collier a rest. Collier's still out there. Williams sat down. Here's Nurse firing, and the rebound is pulled down by Butler.
And it's also a great time for Nurse to be back and start getting into game action, is to get her timing. Because if you play basketball or anything, there's such a feel to it and timing that you need reps. You need game-like reps.
Samuelson misses the three. Sean stuck her nose in there and deflected it to Butler, and the foul.
You just see Connecticut just flying after the rebounds right here. Butler's trying to post. Ball comes off. Loose ball. Chong gets in there. Gets it tipped around a little bit. Butler comes up with it.
Butler, the transfer from Georgetown, where she was the Big East Rookie of the Year. UConn only has 9 players. One of them is a former walk-on, Tierney Lawler, who has since been awarded a scholarship. But in a close game in the NCAA tournament without foul trouble, UConn is rarely in foul trouble. Gino Auriemma may very well only play 6 people. Samuelson with the miss, and Collier out-battles everyone for the rebound and gets fouled. The 6th person being Crystal Dangerfield.
Yeah, they, as I said, it's impressive that the numbers that they have on the bench, and they have played. I mean, they've beat the number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5 team in the country. They've beaten the 9th, the 8th. They played everybody.
Everybody but the Warriors
Baylor,
and the Spurs.
Texas, Notre Dame, South Carolina, Ohio State, Maryland, FSU, even DePaul when they were 15. I mean, they've played them all, and they beat them all. And it's with this lineup and not a deep bench, and with the size disadvantage sometimes on the inside, and they've got it done. And by all means, it's going to be a tough grind through the NCAA because as the season's gone on, teams have gotten better also.
Which is why Gino Auriemma insists that he is stunned that they haven't lost a game this year because of the schedule that they play. On the entry pass, we'll get a foul called on Butler. That will be her first. Final Four is in Dallas. It's about 100 miles from the Baylor campus, right?
Yes.
So you figure that Baylor will have a good, if Baylor gets there, we'll have a good fan contingent. Do you think Baylor has the best chance of beating UConn in the NCAA tournament?
I think they have a really solid chance. I just think their size inside. I mean, Kalani Brown is impressive. I mean, her agile. If they throw her the basketball, it's a problem. Montpellier, I mean, they just have bigs, and they also have guards, Alexis Jones, Wallace, you know, Prince that can shoot it. So I definitely think that they're one of the teams, if they can make it to continue to move on, which last year they got beat a little early. It could be. I would tune in.
And for Collier, as she gets a rest, she's already scored 15 points on 6 of 7 shooting, and she has 5 assists. Dangerfield makes them both. UConn 11 for 11 from the foul line. Where, other than the depth, Katie, where are they vulnerable?
It really is that.
It's like the final Jeopardy question.
You stumped me. I think you know, whether it's an off shooting night, you got some teams that have that size and maybe can put up a better defensive effort. So you know, you might have an off night there, maybe miss some free throws, or you catch a team that on the other side is lighting it up. So if they can stay out of foul trouble, but if they have a rough shooting night, that could be it. As you see, Ashley Hughes getting it before the buzzer.
She knocks down 3. 12 points in 35 minutes last night in the win over Memphis. Here's Perez. Gives to Dixon for the runner. He gets the roll. But back to what we were chatting about. What makes it, in addition to all the other reasons, so unlikely that anyone would beat UConn is, sure, any team can have a bad shooting night. It happens to everybody. But UConn never has a bad night at the other end of the floor.
Right, and exactly. I mean, that's something that you can control no matter what. I mean, sometimes you can't control where the shots go in or not, but they are locked in as a unit, both individually what you need to do defensively, and then as a team. They're always covering for each other. As I said earlier, they contest every shot. So that's, I mean, they're always going to give themselves a chance to win. But the other thing, besides not shooting well, is just the size factor. If somebody can figure out a way to take advantage of their kind of lack of size inside, then that would be another area.
Gabby Williams blocks the shot. Samuelson gets fouled by Hughes with 1:10 remaining in the half. Samuelson, as her freshman year progressed, kept getting better and better and was really at the top of her game when she suffered an injury in the semifinals of the Final Four, and she couldn't play in the championship game. She, of course, has 2 older sisters, one Both went to Stanford. One is still there. One graduated. They can all shoot it.
Yes, they can. And I'm sure she's itching for her experience, wanting to get back to the Final Four, wanting to be able to be on. Right. I mean, being on the bench is fine, and we won it. I was there, but you know, to actually be in that environment on the floor, I have a feeling that she's almost like, come on, please, we got to get there.
But she picked the right school to have another chance.
Yeah, I mean, percentages are pretty good for them.
Most of the time, you only get one chance,
exactly,
if at all. Like Syracuse was there for the first time last year. Great anticipation. Williams with the steal. Ahead to Dangerfield. 2-on-1 with Chong. To the trailer, Collier. And whoop.
Such great vision. I mean, Dangerfield's flying down the floor, pulls up a little bit. She's already seeing, again, turnover right here. And take care of the basketball. You see Dangerfield surveying, takes her time.
A 34-point UConn lead with 41 seconds to go in the half. UConn has been off since Monday when they ended the regular season with a win against USF.
Little trap out of their zone. Little wrinkles that I'm sure they're working on.
Shot clock at 10 for Dixon. Her pass to Panganis is stolen by Chong. Shot clock off for UConn. Chong won't take the last shot of the half, or won't let the clock run all the way down, and miss the shot. So 9 seconds left. Perez double teamed, and Collier and Dangerfield combined to take it away as the half comes to an end. 32 points in the paint for UConn in the first half. They were 20 for 33 from the floor and assisted on 14 of the 20 field goals. The Huskies well on their way to a 30th win for the 12th. You are watching Champ Week, and we're back at the Mohegan Sun Arena. It's the second half of the second game of the quarterfinals of the Frontier Communication American Athletic Conference Women's Championship, with the UConn Huskies leading Tulsa by 34 points. I'm Bob Picozzi, along with three-time Olympic gold medalist Katie Smith. And what can you say about UConn? They've won 104 games in a row, and it seems like every possession they demonstrate perfection.
They do. They share the basketball. They concentrate on their finishes. Their execution, it's a broken record for them, and it's a lot of balance, and they've just been doing it. 14 assists on 20 makes. They just constantly are in motion and selfless. But right here, Gabby Williams got it off early, getting layups. I mean, a ton of points in the paint, 32 points in the paint so far. Collier, again, taking her time, even with that body concentration to finish. But Samuelson finally coming down in transition. Whenever she can get any type of space, knocking it down, and then she got hot.
And there you see the big three. Those are 3 of the 10 finalists for the Wood National Player of the Year award. Collier, 18 points. She also had 5 assists. Gabby Williams, 6 for 8 from the floor. Crystal Dangerfield only played 14 minutes, but that was long enough to have 4 assists. So UConn 20 minutes away from a trip to the semifinals and a date with UCF. Kia Nurse missing the first shot of the second half. UCF won the first game today, beating Tulane, and the Knights are in the semifinals of the American Championship for the first time. This is the 4th year of this conference, and UConn has yet to lose a game regular season or conference tournament in this league. Shot clock all the way down to 3. Wakefield somehow got it up on the rim with her left hand.
You know, good news for Connecticut. Samuelson's got a little bit too much space. And also, as I was saying, Nurse looks like she's moving well. She's come back in the second half. So a positive for them to be able to get her in the ball game and have her get these reps.
Samuelson now with 16 points. She's 3 of 6 from 3. Elliott with a tough shot in the lane.
Yeah, great left hand. You know, the other day she didn't have any moves going to her left, but she can finish with both hands on the block.
Williams penetrates out to Samuelson for another 3.
With her length at 6'3", I mean, there is no closeout. I'm coming to get you in contest. Like, you have to be there on the catch. Like, you have to be in her space to take that shot away.
Wakefield gets by Chong for the layup.
Erica Wakefield.
7 points for Wakefield. Pass deflected and stolen by Ashley Hughes.
Again, Tulsa, nothing easy. They're okay running clock, but you just have to be careful not to get it down too far where you have to go put something up.
Collier was there to contest and reject that shot by Dixon. Samuelson finally missed one, but no one boxed out Collier.
First, how is Katie Lou Samuelson even that open? And then second of all, as the shot goes up, everybody just turns and stands.
And a quick timeout for Matilda Mossman. The UConn lead is up to 30.
Connecticut brings the title back to Stores in 2013. It's another perfect ending for UConn. UConn has done it again for the 10th time.
The national championship goes to Connecticut for the 4th year in a row as the dynasty fulfills its destiny.
And despite the graduation of the top 3 players on that team, which won an unprecedented 4 straight women's national championships, the beat goes on for UConn. The winning streak is up to 104. And this UConn team, this edition, Katie, is already 29-0.
It's another year, but it's also, I don't think they make it look easy when it's not. It's not easy to be this consistent, you know, every single day, let alone every year.
Williams puts it on the deck and uses the glass. So if someone had to ask you, what is it about UConn where they are so consistent, they rarely have a bad night and never seem to have a night that's so bad that it results in a loss? How can they avoid, what no other team in any sport is able to avoid, and that's losing once in a while?
It's the culture that they have. It's the day-to-day, you know, the pride they take in their work, you know, from top to bottom, from coaches down to players. And then they hold each other accountable. As you see a nice take there by Wakefield, but they hold each other accountable. So if you're the one not doing it, then you stand out like a sore thumb. So they've created this, and they go about it in such a, you know, machine type of way.
Sanaya Chong with the miss. Gabby Williams went down hard for the Huskies, but seems to be okay. The last one back up the floor on defense for this possession. Hughes being chased by Samuelson, doubled by Williams.
You can see they have a little free reign to sometimes gamble and try to trap, because they have that confidence, because they know their teammates going to cover their back if they do take that gamble.
And Wakefield barely avoids the shot clock violation, and she heaved that up from the waist. She is the leading scorer on this Tulsa team, the only player who averages in double figures. Chong down low. Collier, who did a good job of getting position down low, and there was no alternative for Scales but to foul her. It's her second and the first on Tulsa here in the third quarter, as Dangerfield comes back in, replacing Kia Nurse. Off the inbound, no one bothered to guard Williams.
Not at all. Not at all. And that's just a free throw line jumper.
Williams has taken 10 shots and she's actually missed 2 of them. Wakefield penetrates, gives to Hughes. Midway through the third, and UConn has already rung up 70 points. Shot clock at 5. Hughes with the shot clock at 1. Well, you see, that's the obvious solution.
Wait till the end. Because Hughes had one of those in the first half. Wakefield just had one before. But good concentration, knowing that the pressure's on.
They finally found UConn's defense, their weakness. They can only guard for 29 seconds. And Dangerfield has a response for 3. Wakefield somehow got the shot off and it went in.
And in traffic. I mean, 5'4", split and getting it up there, getting a floater.
Collier with another layup. She's got 22 points. Collier has been just amazingly consistent all season.
Yeah.
The putback by Scales is good. Katie, if you had a vote, and if you weren't allowed to split it, who would you have voted for the American Conference Player of the Year?
I'd probably say Collier. I would take who?
Collier will have a chance to add to her point total when we return. Timeout on the floor. Collier to shoot a couple with her team up 75. Some news and notes from around the country. A couple of job openings. Cynthia Cooper Dyke at USC, Jimmy Dykes at Arkansas have both resigned. Kelsey Plum, a couple of days after breaking the record for the most career points in women's basketball history, her Washington Huskies knocked off by Oregon in the Pac-12 tournament. The Women's Selection Show Special, presented by Capital One, March 13th, 7 Eastern Time on ESPN. We exclusively reveal the entire 64-team bracket. UConn will be the #1 overall seed, says Charlie Cream, our bracketologist.
I don't think there's anything they could do to change that.
Right. And Natalie Butler comes in for UConn, and Charlie has Notre Dame, who earlier today beat Louisville in the ACC semifinals, Baylor, and South Carolina as the 4, along with UConn as the 4 #1 seeds. Now that's not etched in stone. You wonder if Mississippi State somehow beats South Carolina in the SEC championship game, would that be enough to shift that?
Right. If Texas could beat Baylor and their champion, you never know. There's a couple scenarios that could possibly change it.
Maryland is one of the 2 seeds according to Charlie. Chong with another 3. Maryland, should the seeds hold up, Maryland and Ohio State would meet tomorrow in the Big Ten championship game. They played only once in the regular season. Ohio State won that, and as a result won the tiebreaker. They shared the conference title, but your Buckeyes are the #1 seed in the Big Ten tournament by virtue of that head-to-head meeting over the Terps. Dangerfield with the miss and then runs down her own rebound.
Again, the effort, just you see the pursuit of the basketball compared to Spurl, just the difference in it.
I think we have another shot clock issue here. Shot clock did not recycle when the ball hit the rim. You see it's at 10. It obviously did hit the rim, so they'll go down and figure it out. That young lady in the middle of your screen is Azurá Stevens. She was a first-team All-ACC forward for Duke last year. Transferred to UConn. She's sitting out. She'll be eligible next year. UConn will lose Sanaya Chong out of the starting lineup, but all the other key components are back, Katie, and they figure to be even better next year. They have Megan Walker coming in, considered the top high school recruit in the country. Is it possible they could be better?
Yeah, I think it is. They're going to get some more size, so then they add some more depth in that area. Where then is Collier? Can she play a little more three? Can they even go bigger than what they are? You know, they just have so many things that they can do with those lineups. But yes, they will be better by adding even more on top of the experience that these young ladies are having now.
Next to Azure, Batuli Kamara, a transfer from Kentucky, also sitting out this year. So you add her to the mix next year. And Walker, we mentioned, is not the only freshman coming in. She's just considered to be the cream of that crop. She's more of a wing player. I think one of the, I mean, obviously, Samuelson, Williams, and Samuelson, and Collier, rather, those three. It's hard to imagine that they won't start, right?
Right.
Stevens, Gina Oriema says, would be the best player in this year's team. Hard to imagine her not starting. Samuelson with a miss. So now they really don't have the Dangerfield. Really is the only natural point guard on the roster. Chang has done a great job playing the point this year. It's not her natural position. Nurse has played a lot of point. It's not her natural position.
Right.
So
they have, as I said, and they all buy in. That's the great thing, is off the bench, starting, wherever. They're going to come in and continue to execute and bring that energy.
Scales called for the foul on the screen. That's her third. And 4 on Tulsa here in the third quarter. Samuelson gets an ovation as she departs. In 29 minutes, she has scored 19 points on 6 of 12 shooting. I would say this, it's a pretty safe bet that unlike this season where UConn entered the year number 3 in the preseason poll, that's not going to happen next year.
Yeah, I don't. You're right about that. You heard it here first.
Download a button. I don't think anyone really took serious issue with them being picked as low as 3 with the graduation losses they had.
No, I mean, they didn't have an issue with it. You know, it was just, I think expectations were probably, no, they were high for Connecticut.
Yeah.
But I think, as Gino's mentioned in many interviews, is that probably expected to get beat, you know, at least once, maybe a couple times with the schedule he had.
Butler got a piece of that shot by Polk. Final minute of the third. Remember, their closest win all season was opening night with Florida State. Florida State has shot at the buzzer for the win. Down low, Kyla Irwin, who just enters with the basket. And they had to play Baylor in game 2.
And that's the thing about if they do meet Baylor again down the road, is that was so early that Baylor, I mean, both teams would be very, very different. It's almost like playing a totally different team.
Molly Bent, number 10, is checked in as well. Chang wide open for 3. And it will go back to Tulsa with the shot clock off and 15 seconds remaining in the third.
Taking either high pick and roll, drive and kick, whether you can get to the hole. Obviously want to take the last shot.
Dixon gets a screen, shoots from behind it, no good. Rebound to Butler. Dangerfield. Shot would not have counted, didn't get it off in time. So the Huskies have assisted on 22 of their 30 field goals, and they lead by 40. Welcome back to the Frontier Communications American Championship. This is what the bracket looks like. UCF won the first quarterfinal, beating Tulane, and they will meet UConn in the first semifinal tomorrow. That is if UConn can hang on to its 43-point lead with 10 minutes to go. Still to come tonight, a couple of interesting games. The first of the two will be the one at the bottom of your screen there, Houston and the number 2 seed Temple. In the last game of the night, 3 seed USF will take on SMU. Shot by Wakefield is good, and Katie, our bracketologist Charlie Cream, feels that no matter what USF and Temple do this weekend, they will be in the NCAA tournament. It's just a question of seeding. Right now, Charlie has Temple as a 7, USF as a 9. He thinks that Temple can get to the finals. They may wind up with a 6 seed.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that their body of work, you know, the American in general, the teams have gone out, their RPI is high. And it's better than the Big Ten. So they've done their work, and they've earned that position. Now it's just where will they land.
It's definitely a different feel to the conference tournament for UConn now that they're in the American. as opposed to the old days of the Big East, especially when the Big East had 16 teams, and that tremendous rivalry that existed first between UConn and Rutgers, and then between UConn and Notre Dame. Molly Beck beats the shot clock.
And the bench goes nuts.
It's her 5th three of the year. Nobody works harder than Bent. She's always in shooting early and late. 5'9" freshman from Centerville, Massachusetts. But continuing what we were saying, Gino Auriemma said, I mean, I think it was at least somewhat facetiously, he said back in the day when Diana Taurasi was here, and she graduated in 2004, it was tougher to win the Big East tournament than the NCAA
Right,
tournament.
he did say that. But as you see, end of the shot clock, got it off. Crowd favorite. Knocked it down.
She knocked it down to increase the lead to 44. The shot is good by Jasmine Butler. This season, I think, is a little bit similar to the situation that UConn had entering the 2002-2003 season. Irwin with the miss and rebound Hughes. UConn went 39-0 in 2001-2002, and they had 4 seniors on that team who were among the first 6 players picked in the WNBA draft as Panganis hits a little runner in the lane. But the difference between that team, the team the next year, and this team is they had Diana Taurasi coming back. She was a junior, and UConn rode her back and won 2 more national championships. Butler misses this shot. So as great as Collier and Williams and Samuelson are and have been this year, as we get another look at Butler going down hard after the hard foul, as great as this 3 has been, I don't think anyone would suggest that they were of the caliber of Diana Taurasi was entering that 2002-2003 season.
I mean, as a individual ball player, I mean, Diana Taurasi is top notch. So no, I would still take DT over any of the players here. But as a unit and working together and covering for each other and the skill sets they have, yeah, I mean, these guys are doing their damage just as well, just in a different way.
Gino Auriemma a couple of weeks ago was saying when he saw that team, the 2002-2003 team, in early preseason practice, there was a moment where he looked to Chris Daly and said, you know what, we're not going to lose. We are pretty good. He just liked what he saw, even though you had Sue Bird, who was the National Player of the Year. We mentioned earlier in the broadcast Tamika Williams. The other 2 were Asia Jones and Swin Cash. Those are the 4 who graduated, and yet they won 2 more championships the next 2 years, in large part because of the brilliance of Taurasi.
And she makes everybody around her better. I mean, not only can she, as you see Butler with a little square up shot over the top, but DT not only has her skill set, which can dominate a game, scoring, passing, but she makes you believe like we can get this done, and they did, and that's what she continues to do, you know, on overseas and in the WNBA and USA Basketball.
Panganis with the miss. Of course, Taurasi and Bird have been on the last 4 U.S. gold medal winning teams at the Olympics, as was Tamika Catchings. Tamika has retired, and Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi have not retired. Gino Auriemma was asked by our colleague Debbie Antonelli a couple of weeks ago when Debbie and I were doing the first meeting with Tulane, did any chance, Gino, you would reconsider and come back to coach the Olympic team one more time? As Panganis hits the shot, and he said, "Now," he said, "look, I told Sue and D, as he calls Taurasi, D, I said, look, I love you guys, but I'm not so sure I'll love you when you're 40."
Yeah, he's gonna make sure he gets his little digs in. But he you know, obviously did an exceptional job. You see the foul there, a little bump by Panganis, but exceptional job of continuing on the legacy of USA Basketball on the women's side, and just we're just proud of the way that our players and coaches and go about their business and continue to compete and try to represent us as well as they can.
Sue Bird would be 40, by the way, should she decide to come back and play in the Olympics in 2020. Diana Taurasi would only be 38.
I wouldn't put it past him.
Low block to Butler. I'm going to ask you another question. I'm going to put you right on the spot here. Do you think that Gino Auriemma might be the greatest coach in the history of sports, any sport, any level, any era?
I think he has to be in the conversation. I mean, the consistency, the recruiting, the life skills, the lessons learned, the young ladies moving on into the world and doing great things in all kinds of fields. You see Perez with the pull-up. I think he's basketball and on and off. That he's in that conversation in that elite group.
Deflection on the entry pass, and Scales came away with it for Tulsa.
I'm also not a greatest type of person.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, of course.
But it's all. But I think he is by far like he is top notch in every way in just every circumstance. So I not only the basketball thing, but as you see Phil Jackson, John Wooden, and I mean talent wise, I mean on the floor, but he's just the way he does it with humor and. He has a good sense of humor. He gets it. He gets
right.
it, and it means a lot. That's why his players obviously continue to hang around and bother him as much as he bothers them.
and one day, perhaps he will learn to come out of his shell.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
On the drive, Dangerfield hits the shot. Well, if there were a Mount Rushmore for the greatest coaches,
he'd be on there. Yes,
he'd have to be one of the four.
No doubt.
Don't pin me down for the other three because I have about 9 really good candidates. And you saw a couple of them on the screen there. Red Auerbach would be another one. Of course, Auerbach and Phil Jackson are pretty much accepted as the best NBA coaches of all time, although Greg Popovich is entering the conversation, and he will be the next men's coach. Great look down low to Chong for the layup.
And another thing about coaching is that his players that come here get better, right? They come in talented, but they even get better at understanding the game, reading the game, becoming better passers. So their basketball IQ continues to grow when they're players here at Connecticut. Jasmine Butler with a little putback.
Gino Auriemma will get a rolling timeout for the sole purpose of getting Turney Lawler into the game.
See Butler right here, reads the defense, reads the help, and drops it down to Chung.
You don't want to miss this Women's Championship Sunday tomorrow on ESPN2. We have 5 games for you. 4 of them are conference championship games. Starting out with the ACC at 1 Eastern time. We know Notre Dame is one of the 2 teams in the ACC finals. The other one will be Miami or Duke. The SEC championship game at 3. Their semifinals haven't yet started. UConn will be playing UCF in that semifinal in the American at 5 Eastern. Then the Big Ten final tomorrow at 7. Semifinals are later today. Purdue and Ohio State about to tip off, and then later Michigan State, Maryland. And the last game of the night will be in the Pac-12 championship tomorrow night. So 4 tickets will be punched. And in between, you'll get a chance to see the #1 team in the country, UConn, play in the semifinals. So a huge day for women's basketball on ESPN2. Then we will have the championship game from the American for you Monday night at 7 Eastern time on ESPN2. The pull-up is good by Perez. You know, in chatting with Matilda Mossman this week, I asked her, you know, she said you'd rather not play UConn because you don't obviously you don't have a real good chance of winning. But on the other hand, I said, what do you get out of playing? She said, oh, you can get a lot out of it. You know, you basically ignore the score once you fall behind, and you take it like the best possible practice scenario where you're practicing against the best team in the country, and you can learn some lessons. You can get better by playing against the best, even though you might lose by 40 or 50 points.
And it's true. It's like the game within the game. It's just striving to be better as a team, no matter who you're playing against. So yeah, by all means, you forget the score. You try to execute. You try to get better individually and as a group. And film will be a great teaching tool, and you can show things to people when you may be, you know, it's just, it is what it is. Every single day you can learn something and continue to take a step forward in your craft.
Ashley Hughes. Jasmine Butler with a shot with a hand in her face. Crowd looking for UConn to go over the 100 mark for the 3rd time this year. Dangerfield with the stop and go, and there's your 100.
And you appreciate too with Connecticut is that they respect the game and they play it at a high level, and they respect their opponents because they don't take it, you know, they're not taking plays off. They're coming out here to play. It doesn't matter who it is, so they respect it enough and who they're going against to give it all they have every single possession.
Well, you know, UConn fans obviously have lots of opportunities to watch their team play either in person or on TV, but the fans don't get a chance to watch the team in practice, and we in the media, of course, have that rare opportunity of being sort of inside the bubble, and that's where you really see the brilliance and the genius of Gino Auriemma, to watch him operate in his classroom at practice.
It is, because he commands it, first of all, his presence, but he's a teacher. He's a teacher of the game. He's a teacher of how the game can help you in life. And as I say, I hear so many stories and have good friends that are from this program, and they just, you know, the stories they tell just say it all.
Rebound pulled down by Polk. Well, Katie, you were a great player a year ago when the WNBA celebrated its 20th anniversary. You were one of the 20 greatest players in WNBA history, and now you're coaching. You're an assistant under Bill Lambier with the New York Liberty. So now that you've seen it from both sides as a player and as a coach, what do you think makes Gino Auriemma so great, and his ability to relate to his players and get them to perform at such a high level and always play with such a high effort?
I think it's his consistency. It's, first of all, he's prepared, but he demands it from every little detail. It's not just, hey, today we're going to do it this way, and tomorrow, well, hey, you can do it like this, and you don't have to go as hard. It's just, this is who we're about. This is how you should do it. And then also the selflessness. Like, man, it talks about how he recruits kids. If it talk about what am I going to get out of this experience? Am I going to start? Am I going to whatever? We're not going to mix. He wants somebody who has extreme confidence. Is like, I want to win. And basically, you'll figure out whatever it is your role. So I just, you know, appreciate that, and his directness. I also am a fan of. As athletes, and I think as people, we appreciate when people are honest and are upfront with you. And it may hurt, and it may not feel good, and it may, you know, hurt your feelings. But at the end of the day, you appreciate to know where you stand with somebody.
Well, you know, Gino's story is an interesting one. He's an immigrant. He was born in Italy, moved to this country when he was 7 years old. He's the first person in his family to go to college. And when UConn was on the verge of winning their first national championship in 1995, the Final Four was in Minneapolis at the news conference between the semifinals and finals. A reporter pointed out, you know, what is it like to be someone who is 7 years old, you moved to this country, now you're on the verge of winning this national championship? And he said, oh, you got it all wrong. When I was 7, my mom put me on the boat and pointed and said, now go over there and win a national championship.
He's going to spin all his stories, but his life experiences also have molded him and then his team. They want Molly Bent to shoot.
Well, they want Tierney Lawler to get on the board, but Bent will do it instead. So UConn will have to settle for 105. Their season high is 105 this season. The most they ever scored in the conference tournament was 106.
Yeah, Tierney Lawler was not going to take a shot that was not approved by Gino Auriemma.
3 seconds to go. Perez throws it up, no good. And for the 12th consecutive year, UConn has won 30 games. They beat Tulsa 105-57. Their 105th consecutive victory. They're now 13-0 in their history in this arena. And they will get a date tomorrow with the UCF Knights in semifinal number 1 at 5 o'clock Eastern time. here on ESPN2. And what do you think about that one?
Business as usual, but also it was great to see Kia Nurse out there getting reps and getting some timing back.
During the regular season, the Huskies beat UCF 84-48. So for Katie Smith, I'm Bob Picosi. So long from Uncasville, where UConn beats Tulsa 105-57. To watch this entire game on replay, as well as other games on our family of ESPN networks, log on to thewatchespn.com. This has been